I decided when I was 29 I would run for city council. I remember asking my father, why don't you run for office? So many people come in here, you're on all these boards and so forth. And he said to me, I don't speak English well enough and I'm not educated enough. He said, maybe you should do it. It didn't mean that much to me then, but God, he kept telling me, you've got to go to college, you've got to finish, blah, blah, blah. The day I graduated, and I wasn't any great student, God, he was happy. To him, he had fulfilled something that I guess was a dream of his all of his life. I remember being in Sicily and wondering how they got to the boat when I drove for an hour and something through mountains. So I asked the question because they didn't have a car. I never thought of it. So they walked. I said, they walked? How long did that take? I said, 4 days. When I drove back to that seaport, I envisioned my father at 6, one brother, 2 sisters, and my grandfather walking for 4 days through mountains to come to a country they had never seen. But you see, this is not an unusual story. It's a story of every single one of us, grandparents or great-grandparents or even parents, some in this room. These people helped build this country on belief and love and so forth and so on. And even though many of them didn't have money they gave of themselves, they gave something back all the time. They were interested in politics. To make a long story short, I decided how I wanted to run the political campaign. I wasn't going to have a campaign fund or anything like that. I was going to, whatever money came in, that's the way it was going to be, which is a little stupid these days, if you would say. And it's funny, and I'm going to tell you this, and this may sound strange to you, and I'm not some religious nut or something. That's not what I'm trying to convey. Toward the end of the campaign for city council at 29, everybody that was helping me was much older. Doctors, lawyers, friends of my dad, people that he had done favors. And somebody who was in the race that had a lot more money. Pretty soon you saw more of his signs out there. And about a month before the campaign was over, we had a meeting every week that we opened just like you did. Somebody sang. I had my minister there. He said a little prayer, and we got started. One of them said, if you don't start raising some money, you're going to lose. And it was tough for me at 29 to drive around and see more signs of another guy than mine. And I had made up my mind how I wanted to do this. It's hard not to say, well, if you don't win, then you're not going to accomplish anything. You're not going to help yourself or anybody else. And you start making deals that weren't in the equation when you started. And somebody told me that night. Said, we're all helping you, and you're not even willing to help yourself. Send a letter and ask for a few dollars. I said to my preacher this, and I'll never forget it. What would you do, Earl? He said, I'd go home and read the Bible. I said, yeah, that's going to take care of it, I'm sure. A funny thing happened. I guess it wasn't so funny. There's a reason for it. The Bible was by my bed. I read it all the time. I opened it. I looked down. It opened to the book of Proverbs. You know what the first verse I saw said? Better is just a little with righteousness than great revenue without right. That's, I read it 4 times. That can't be possible. It's pretty much on target. I made up my mind that night that if I ever ran for office again, I would always never ask anyone for, nobody knows this, ask anybody for a campaign contribution or write a letter with my name on it asking for money. I went back the next week. I said, I hope nobody's disappointed. I didn't tell them why. In fact, I told very few people why. I said, we're going to run it just like we started. Win, lose, or draw. It doesn't matter. That's the way I'm going to do it. And I hope you all don't mind. We won by the biggest margin ever in the history of the city. Phrase. I have run 4 times since then. Never asked anybody for a campaign contribution. Never made a promise that I was going to do this or that to anybody. Nor write a letter with my name on it. I was able to do what I wanted to do, feeling comfortable being me. And that's what I hope that everybody, if you go away with anything tonight from this place, is that be you.